So, today we're gonna talk about life and life being, maybe just taking life sometimes a little bit too serious. And with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. No, I just don't want to have a look at this picture. And let's see. Because the thing is, I have done that. I have massively taken my life too serious, but I've got an article saying, don't take life too serious, quote unquote, is advice you should ignore in 2020. And I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about. Maybe it's just some clickbaiting thing, or whatever you're just then calling it when it is about some article and not like YouTube share, But anyway, relative to the average person, I work pretty hard. I'm not Mark Wahlberg, but I work out typically 5 times a week and manage multiple personal projects alongside a full-time job in marketing. There is no internet in my flat. I haven't watched a TV series in 2 years, take periods of sobriety, and am vegan. I want to point out, take periods of sobriety. Isn't it like being sober? I guess so, soberness, yeah. And some people think I take life too serious. I don't actually take many things seriously, but it's true that life as a whole, I do take seriously. We don't know what happens when this life ends. Those who follow a religion will tell you what they believe, but that is a faith. It isn't a known. It is what they trust. We can't know much about life, about why we're even here. So I reached the conclusion fairly early on that if my life right now is all I know, then it's important. And when something is important, you don't just let it be. You try to influence it. I believe you have to love most days and love things off. Taking life seriously doesn't mean taking everything seriously. It means knowing what will impact your experiences in life, taking those things seriously, and shaking off everything else. It means taking seriously what is in your control and not stressing out things that aren't. For example, I don't take dating seriously, but I take love very seriously. I don't take most people's opinions seriously, but I do consider the emotions of my friends and family as deserving of respect and consideration. When it comes to work, I'm more aware than ever of just how lucky we are to get to work for personal gain. Living in London and having been given a good education, most of my basic needs can be taken care of without too much effort on my part. So I get to go the extra mile to stretch and grow myself. While in other parts of the world, people have to literally go to extra miles just to survive. It's a great privilege to live in the UK. We take for granted that we can actually choose things that make us happy, while many people, women in particular, still have that right taken away from them. If you're reading this, it's likely you're in a not too dissimilar position and also get to create what your life and legacy are about. We should take that responsibility seriously, take time to really assess what we want to do with that privilege and where we want our lives to go, and then act, of course. Alexandra is the founder of Cleopatra's Worldwide and the host of the Hot Girls podcast. She's a Gemini and a feminist who loves coffee and leather trousers. I see. Sounds good. Alexandra Hearth. I think it's Hearth. Is there a little bit of a bio? I must be a mermaid. I have no fear of depths and great fear of shallow living. Annie's Nin. www.cleopatrasworld.com. Yeah, this is the first article that I wanted to read, actually just because of the headline, to be honest. It's a good marketing there. No, I'm not going to say the B word. Doesn't sound in my head to be right, to really be honest. But anyway. Let's see what this Psychology Today, which is the second one that I'm willing to go through, psychologytoday.com as always, or .org, might be .org, I don't know. As always, the 2 links to these 2 articles are going to be down in the description and or also in the show notes of the podcast. So if you want to check it out, please check it out and then do something with it, whatever. So how to stop taking yourself too seriously? Do this instead. What happens when, No, I'm just going to read it and then I'm going to talk about my opinion of this article and also the other article. So let's see. What happens when you ask a group of kids to draw? They start drawing. And if you ask them to dance, they just dance. However, if you ask the same question to an adult, they usually reply, I don't know. Instead of jumping into action, they connect with their logical brain. We are afraid of being ridiculed, shame kills our drive. Adults are desperate for approval. The fear of rejection prevents us from doing what we want. Kids draw and dance not because they are good at it, they simply don't know what they don't know. Kids play and do what they feel like, that is how they learn. When we fear being laughed at, we stop doing what we want, having fun, and also learning. That's the problem with taking yourself too seriously or ourselves too seriously. We choose to look good over learning new things. Fear makes our lives boring and repetitive. The fear of being ridiculed. Fear is an emotional response to a threat in the present. It's a natural reaction to an attack, real or perceived. The fear of ridicule is an anticipation. We worry about something that might happen. It's like walking through a crowd and worrying that people won't like or might laugh at us. Where does the fear of ridicule come from? It all starts by letting expectations determine how we live. We start taking ourselves too seriously and then seek for approval. We allow people to become our judges. As Brené Brown explains in her book, Daring Greatly, shame makes us feel disconnected. Women are expected to be naturally perfect. Men live under the pressure of not being perceived as weak. The author captures the need for worthiness in a sequence: pleasing, performing, and perfecting. External expectations are a moving target, as I wrote in this post. By trying to please everyone, we end up pleasing no one, ourselves included. We wrongly believe the world is a stage. Our self-worth is tied to how our audiences receive our performance. If they love it, we are worth it. If they don't, we feel worthless. Living our lives is an endless performance. As an endless performance is exhausting, we are always playing a part. Perfectionism is the enemy of change. The bar is so high that we never rest to have fun. Who would you choose? Who you should be, what you should be, how you should be. We want to do everything the right way. One single mistake could ruin everything we've built. Sound similar? When we take ourselves seriously, we take others seriously too. That is why their opinion can hurt us. Labels don't define you unless you allow them to. People can call you whatever they want. That doesn't mean you should make those labels yours. So the basics: why do we feel fear? Find counseling to combat fear and anxiety. There is a link, but yeah. The solution lies in finding balance. Take life seriously, but not yourself. How to take yourself less seriously. Confront the fear of being ridiculed. Ends the vicious cycle. Fear fuels more fear. Face it and get over it. As Seth Godin said, dance with fear. As you dance, you realize that fear is, in fact, a compass. It's giving you a hint that you are onto something. Use that fear as energy to leap forward. Actually the case. But anyway. The second thing is drop the ball on purpose. I don't mean this metaphorically, just let something fall through the cracks. This will not only help you realize that one mistake won't kill you, but it will also help you regain control. If someone complains, simply smile and tell them you did it on purpose. Erring on purpose prepares you for unexpected mistakes. I do quickly have to say something, because I've very, very recently seen something, and something pretty interesting, and it shook me, to some degree. Gary Vee was talking about making errors on purpose so that you are not put on a pedestal, so that you are being just seen as the underdog quite, You're not that of an amazing dude or whatnot, but you're the person that also makes mistakes in something. But you yourself know that you have done this on purpose. You yourself understand and know that you've done that on purpose. So whatever criticism you might be getting is definitely not going to affect you, because you know that you did this on purpose. You could also tell people, yeah, I did this on purpose. Maybe it is smart, maybe to some degree it is fucking not. I can really think about a lot of ways in which it is not smart to say like, oh, I did this on purpose. To really be honest. But the thing is, there is no way then in which you would take the criticism of others seriously if you did it on purpose. And if it is something that you just did consciously, on purpose, as I said. But yeah, let's move on. So maybe you should be doing that, unless it is about something that could severely impact your life in a negative way, then I don't necessarily think that it just makes sense. But yeah, just as an idea, just as a thought, maybe consider it. Change the tone, change the conversation. The best way to overcome pressure from perfectionists is by not taking them too seriously. Perfectionists tend to think in right or wrong terms. Either you succeed or fail. Well, either you succeed or fail. Use humor to disarm their approach. Show them life's shades of gray. What's the worst thing that could happen? This simple question can help you and others put things in perspective. I'm not telling you not to aim high, but to find balance. Write everything that comes to your mind. Are you down? Are you worried about a real thing? Are you taking small things too seriously? Reflect and separate worries from facts. And very, very often we do indeed kind of mush them together into one piece, but it is not one piece. Become shame resilient. Learn to acknowledge the voice of shame when it's calling your name. Face that emotion. Brené Brown suggests talking to your shame. This is disappointing, maybe even devastating, but success and recognition and approval are not values that drive me. My value is courage. You can move on. Shame. This was a quote, by the way. I should have said that. I'm sorry. But yeah, call that bitch, call the motherfucker, and tell this motherfucker to shut the fuck up and go away. There is very, 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 very low amounts of things that should actually make you feel ashamed. When it is a mistake, when you've made a mistake, yeah, you made a mistake. Guess what? Nobody is going to care in some time, and you're also not going to care in some time. It's eventually going to pass by, and it's eventually going to be something so fucking irrelevant that it's just not even funny anymore. But yeah, But there's a reason why I'm going through specifically this article, or why I'm talking about this topic. But yeah, and the seventh and last one is, let go of your reputation. Your image is not you. It's just what people perceive. Don't let your self-worth depend on your audience's applause. When your self-worth is not on the line, it's easy to take more risk and be courageous. You stop thinking about whether you know how to dance or not. You just start swaying or dancing or whatever. I do quickly want to point out the author just because I think it is important, so just that you know who wrote it. Gustavo Rossetti is a change leadership consultant and speaker who helps build a culture of change. He writes at the intersection of self-awareness, creativity, and resilience. Yeah, I think it is an amazing article. I really believe so, and I can say that both articles are pretty much right, at least at my point of view, as I'm seeing things. And yes, you should definitely take some things in life seriously. You should not be laying around all day long and play video games and not do anything. This is not the point of that. It's also not the point of me saying, okay, enjoy your life, live your life. This is not what I mean. Really not. I don't mean just sitting around and drinking alcohol all the fucking day and just being completely in another galaxy through drugs the whole day long. This is not my point, and this is not the point that I'm willing to make. But I think sometimes we're just taking things way too serious. We are just thinking too much about other people's opinions. We think we are just too much judging ourselves, which leads to us judging other people, which is something that's pretty interesting. And by the way, also an idea by Gary Vee. If you stop judging other people for whom they are, for what they do, and so on and so on and so on, then you're probably also going to stop judging yourself. It is very interesting, and I thought about it because in very recent days, I have been judging myself so massively much for things I did, things I didn't do, and it was actually quite a realization. I think it's been just two amazing articles, and I once again want to point out that it is important to do something with your life. You're having one life, as the first article actually also pointed out. You're having one life. We don't know what's happening afterwards, and so you should actually make something quite good out of it. Which means being happy, which doesn't mean making a lot of money and working all day long, unless this is something that makes you happy, unless this is something that makes you feel good about yourself and good about whatever. For example, I like doing things. When I'm sitting around all day long watching something, some series and whatnot, this is not particularly fun for me. I like doing something. I've been actually thinking about doing something as well, just as the podcast, because podcast is running very smoothly, things are doing better, and also thought about upgrading it, just doing something different, making it better through whatever, and it's difficult. It really is, but I think that I'm going to start something else, something additionally to that. So yeah, I don't know. do things that make you happy. Money is essentially not going to make you happy in the end, which is also something that I thought about today. Like, we are spending so much time working, but so less time with the people that we actually love and the people that we actually want to be with, which is also something to consider. And, besides that, working a job that you actually like and want to do is one of the just most important things there is. If you don't do that, then, well, I think that your life is already going to be just pretty miserable if you're doing so. And yeah, I don't know. And purpose in life. Purpose in life is also important, and I think we get purpose in life, at least I'm getting purpose in life through the things that I'm doing, the podcast, because these are all things that seem to be sensible for me. They make sense. It makes sense to do those things because I'm seeing some upsides for me and especially also for other people by doing that. And so it makes sense for me. For other people, it might just totally be something like a waste of time. I can definitely see that. But something that I've read today as well is you don't find your purpose, but your purpose finds you in the end. So maybe I'm actually going to stop doing the podcast after a while because I'm doing something else and then because of whatever. But I don't know. I believe that there's a lot of things that we like to do or we all have something that we just love doing. For me, it is actually talking. I like talking, but only in English and presenting things and just, this thing. But I also like sports. I just really love everything that has something to do with balls. Even though, there's things that we all like, I would say. But yeah, check out the article once again or rewatch this episode. I think it is amazing. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the episode there. I wish you the best health, happiness, and all success, and also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person and then being remembered as a nice person, which is a pretty fucking cool thing as well. 3 other questions that I'm have you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change, and what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is as well a pretty cool thing. One last idea or one last thought that I'm having you is, what could you essentially say to another person that is indeed going to change their life? Because I totally believe that we all can say something and we all can communicate something that is indeed going to change the people's life or the person's life. And with that being said, I wish you the best and hope we're going to see you soon. So take care of yourself, your family members, and all of your loved ones, because people matter. People matter in the end, just such a lot. So consider it. And with that being said, bye-bye.